The paper trail that Fani Willis claimed didn't exist has just been forensically recovered. Today, March 20th, 2026, Judicial Watch has asked a Georgia court to force the immediate release of communications between the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, Special Counsel Jack Smith, and the January 6th committee. This isn't just a request, it's the final stage of a multi-year lawsuit where Willis was already hit with a default judgment for lying to the court. As a CPA, I track reporting integrity. If a CEO tells an auditor there are no records and then the auditor finds a secret 212-page ledger, that CEO is usually headed for a permanent suspension of license. As a CPA, I look at interagency coordination. Judicial Watch is currently suing the Department of Justice for records linking the Arctic Frost probe, an unprecedented effort to prosecute Donald Trump, to various local officials. From a forensic perspective, this suggests a consolidated prosecution strategy. Willis repeatedly denied having any responsive records about Jack Smith. Yet, after being ordered by Judge McBurney to conduct a diligent search, 212 pages suddenly appeared. In the world of finance, we call this off-balance sheet evidence. It was hidden to protect the narrative of independence, but the audit has exposed the coordination. I'm Camilo Motato, reporting for Thu News. As a certified public accountant, I specialize in verification of claims. In an audit, the most expensive mistake you can make is a false representation. Fani Willis didn't just misplace these files. Judicial Watch argues she falsely denied they existed. This conspiracy, involving the Biden and Pelosi operations, is no longer a theory. It is a documented line item in a court-ordered search. Today, we are auditing the lawfare ledger, where the cost of secrecy has already reached $21,578 in attorney's fees paid for by the taxpayers. The most alarming audit finding from August 2025 involves the scope of the search. Willis's office submitted an affidavit, but it failed to address a critical question. Were the devices of former Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade or Chief Investigator Michael Hill ever searched? As a professional, I audit data custodians. If the people most likely to be in contact with the January 6th committee are the ones whose devices were excluded from the search, the audit is materially incomplete. Judge McBurney has already signaled that he isn't buying the excuses, ordering an in-camera inspection of the 212 pages. We are looking at a fraudulent search affidavit that could potentially lead to criminal contempt charges for those who signed off on it. To understand the material risk of Fani Willis's secret communications, we have to audit the history of the man on the other end of the line, Jack Smith. Before his appointment as special counsel, Smith was at the center of the 2014 IRS scandal. As a CPA, I look at past performance as an indicator of future conduct. Judicial Watch previously revealed that Smith's public integrity section was in communication with the IRS to launch criminal investigations into conservative groups. This is a pattern of misconduct. By coordinating with Willis in Georgia, Smith is simply running the same audit playbook he used a decade ago. The 212 pages currently under review by Judge McBurney are the primary source documents that could prove this was a unified, federalized effort to liquidate a political opponent. The audit doesn't stop at the Georgia border. In March 2026, Judicial Watch expanded the scope of audit by suing the DOJ for all records linking specific legal advisors to the FBI's Arctic Frost probe. From a forensic perspective, Arctic Frost appears to be the parent account for the various subsidiary prosecutions in D.C., New York, and Atlanta. By tracking the communications of top deputies like Merrick Garland and Lisa Monaco, Judicial Watch is performing a consolidated audit of the entire prosecution machine. Willis's refusal to release her records is a desperate attempt to keep the Fulton County branch from being tied to the main office in Washington. Let's talk about the cost of non-compliance. In January 2025, the court awarded Judicial Watch $21,578 in attorney's fees because Fani Willis failed to properly respond to the lawsuit. As a professional, I audit fiduciary responsibility. That $21,000 was paid for by the taxpayers of Fulton County because their DA chose to play information shell games instead of following the law. This is a material financial loss caused by management negligence. If a corporate controller hid 212 pages of records and cost the company thousands in legal fines, the board of directors, the voters, would have already demanded a mandatory resignation. The final audit of March 19, 2026 shows that the independence of the Fani Willis prosecution was a material misstatement. The coordination with the January 6th committee and Jack Smith is no longer a theory. It is a 212-page reality that is currently being inspected in camera. As a CPA, my verdict is that we are witnessing the total default of prosecutorial ethics. You cannot delist 212 pages of evidence and expect the audit report to come back clean. Judicial Watch has successfully pierced the corporate veil of the Fulton County DA's office. Whether it's through the Arctic Frost lawsuits or the special master overseeing Willis's search, the lawfare ledger is finally being balanced in the light of day. but I want to hear from you. Is the $21,000 fine enough, or should Fani Willis be held personally liable for the material non-disclosure of these files? Does the Arctic frost connection prove that the local prosecutions were directed by Washington? Let me know in the comments. Your perspective is the only audit that matters when the hidden ledger is finally opened. I'm Camilo Motato, Certified Public Accountant for Thu News. Subscribe to stay informed on the financial truth behind the headlines. Stay safe.